And good afternoon, everybody. Thank you once again for joining us. This is the panel session at CEE Pay TV Operators Strategy Insights. So we'll hopefully get some of that over the next 45 minutes or so. We're going to go through the customer demand evolution, maybe look at some of the bundling strategies alongside the role of fibre, fixed mobile, convergence, and also the evolution both of technology and content. And I'd say both of those last two have come through sort of leaps and bounds over the last few years and kind of taken us through the pandemic and kept us entertained. So let me introduce our panel to you. Inga Alika Stroda is Entertainment and Business Director for TET. Christoph Kaczurba is Director of Development Strategy at Orange Poland. And we also have Thomas Christensen, who is the CTO at the tech firm 24i. So welcome to you all. Thank you very much for spending some time with us this lunchtime. There's more and more OTT services which are available. It almost seems like it's almost like a daily occurrence that there's an announcement from both large and small operators who are looking to really take viewers outside of their traditional TV plans. I wonder what kind of position the operators can take on what's, I think, very often increasingly fragmented markets. Inga, I wonder if I could start with you. And first of all, maybe give us a quick little introduction to TET for those who are not familiar with your company.
Yes, hello everyone, and thanks Julian for having us here today. Yes, TET is the largest entertainment and media company in Latvia with a telco heritage. So we are leading broadband and pay TV market. And my position within company is to be responsible for subscription side of entertainment business.
Right. So, what kind of effect then are the various? And I'm not entirely sure if again. The big threes mean because the ones are the larger operators keep expanding. But out of Netflix, Amazon, Disney, and we've also got the CBS Showtime project on the way. Which ones are currently available both in Latvia and on your platform?
Yes, more and more new services are launching. And of course, if you look like 3 years back, then a lot of our current competitors haven't been even on the landscape. So yes, we have Netflix, Amazon Prime from the global players. HBO Max is launching also in Baltics next year. And yes, streaming is definitely a new media in town also in Latvia, so it's not different from other markets. But for TET, traditional pay TV is still a viable and very strong standalone business. We have IPTV and DTT technology, but you're right. There is growing, of course, challenge for consumers and operators and content providers actually with increasing fragmentation. And let's say our newest baby addressing all this shift or the new bat is a new streaming platform, TET Plus. TET Plus is basically addressing this fragmentation with a very simple monthly subscription for exchange of the credits. So it's a super aggregator platform, which currently aggregates more than 70 traditional TV channels and SVOD services. So basically, yes, giving a customer, let's say, or solving the customer pain from one side, managing so-called subscription fatigue and multiple subscriptions, or also, as we think, outdated traditional pay TV packages, right? Because there is a very hard to find a value proposition when you have a standardized packages, which we are used to on pay TV side. So basically, yes, the customers can dip in and dip out from and use their credits for the content they are watching, and we believe that it generates a value for our customers. But also on a content provider side, it's a great platform to grow an overall pie. And when it comes to pay TV operators, maybe last but not least thing, so we believe that it's also managing a business model, making it sustainable going forward for paying for actual content performance, not kind of having to pay for everything. Yes, so that's
a couple of questions
in a
actually.
nutshell. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. A couple of questions which come out of that. The first of one is TET Plus. Is that's clearly aimed at people who either don't subscribe to TET right now or have done so in the past and changed for whatever reason. So is that opening up a really important new segment for you? Is it a particular type of subscriber who is enjoying TET Plus?
Yes, we can see actually that this segment-wise, it's more like urban and so say cord shaver or cord cutter segment. But also for us, you see with DTT, it's a declining technology. So we kind of separate two markets. From one side, we look like a traditional pay TV where kind of game rules are very clear, and it mainly, of course, we are competing with the local players. And that's where IPTV is a very strong proposition for more like kind of linear content lovers. And then we also follow basically what is happening in the new market or OTT, which apparently is growing. And of course, we'll be getting more and more fragmented.
And how do the credits work? And what happens if I run out? I'm enjoying the service so much, I might run out of credits. It's possible.
Very good point. Yes. So we currently have 2 subscriptions. So basically, for $9.99, you can have 80 points for exchange of the content. And then if it's not enough for you, and of course, you probably share your subscription among family members, and you can kind of have a family pack for $14.99 for exchange of 120 points. But we see that actually, yes, more and more new services we are launching, that the demand is growing, and probably we will increase like kind of even bigger package, or let's say.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, I guess, in weeks and months to come. Krzysztof, what's it like in Poland? You've got, I think, Via Play in the process of launching in your market. What else should we be keeping an eye out for?
In terms of the Poland, I would say that first of all, maybe a few words about my company.
Yes, of course.
Because it will show the difference. Because we are not the content provider like the traditional pay TV operator. We are the aggregator of the content. And originally we started with we had a story with the own DTH, but finally we decided to switch to the fully, let's say, the cooperation model with the Canal Plus. And in terms of DTH, and on the other hand, also we build the IPTV leg, or let's say the internet-based leg of the services. But in terms of the value proposition, they are more or less the same. When you mentioned on the Via Play, that's one of the new player on our market, and
one of many, of course. There's
one of many
fingers already identified.
I would say, we have in Poland, let's say, in terms of the purely OTT services, the leading position of the Netflix, for sure. Second one is the HBO Go, which initially started as the add-on to the HBO packages, and now it's like the standalone service. We are still waiting for the branding to the Max.
Oh, right. So you're still taking HBO Go at the moment.
Yeah.
They haven't. I know I guess Thomas will be familiar with in Scandinavia with the flipping there to HBO Max, but not all the territories have been changed yet. Then
yes, that's right. But the first move happened, which means that HBO now is available as the standalone product.
Okay.
So that's important element. And also the Canal Plus Star, which initially were a purely DTH operator, started with the own OTT services in Poland. And the last but not least, in terms of the operators, is the Polsat, the biggest competitor for us, and the only one which originally has historically on pay TV operations, on content productions, on DTH platform. So in these situations, we see us as the integrator of the OTT services, which means that for us, Via Play is additional component for our customers. So we're rather building the value on the quality of the transfer and the easiness to combine OTT services in carrier billing solution, direct carrier billing solutions for the customers, and in some cases building the bundles around the full portfolio of the offer. In case of Viaplay, the interesting case for us, and that's something which we see which changed the rules on the market, is that Viaplay also started with the very good and very visible content rights in terms of the sport. So that's something which has changed the position of the OTT players on the market. The second one,
so this is but the sport coming from where? From OTT players or the pay TV operators shoring up their content library?
no, it's like buying the rights and to be the exclusive provider of OTT content. And for example, is the case of the Formula One, which will be only there. Another case is the case of the ski jumping, which were the rights are in the hands of the TVN platform, and they started to share this content via their own player PL platform, OTT platform.
Because of course, I remember, I'm trying to remember my Polish channels here. TVN, are they Discovery owned, I believe?
Yeah, TVN belongs to the Discovery. So that's
right. So they've got their Discovery Plus platform, and I guess maybe the Eurosport player to think about as well.
Yes, they combine, let's say, around the player PL, which is a purely OTT service, like let's think on this like the on VOD services, and behind this also there is a Eurosport live OTT, and what is important that historically the sports rights content were shared between the platforms and between the broadcasters, and now it started, let's say, to play this as the exclusive rights, even if it costs much more for the owners on the rights. And that's the change on the market, which will push customers to think on, let's say, more OTT services if they would like to see this content. So maybe, and that's the change which will happen in the future.
And people watching this will be thinking, ski jumping, what's he on about? But then for Polish viewers, that's a very important sport, like say cricket or rugby might be in the UK.
That's right. That's the case. That's quite specific case for the Poland. And one thing which we see, which is maybe quite, which is I think comparable to the other countries. Of course, with these sport disciplines, they are related to the success of the Polish sportsmen. So if we have success in Formula One, like you remember some time ago, then the Formula One was very important. Now ski jumping, only one sport stays on the top level, and doesn't matter what kind of scores we have, which is football.
Yes. Are you tempted as a company to go after content yourselves, or are you happy to stay as an aggregator?
I would say that at least from the perspective of our nearest viewer strategy, we rather would like to be the aggregator. The point is that to play on the content, you have to invest a lot of money into this. And on the other hand, at the end of the day, customers think on the quality and they look for the good, let's say, transmission path to see the content. And in that case, we quite win-win position. Like we can offer the value for the especially OTT providers, which is the quality of the connectivity. And on the other hand, we can show the customers that via Orange, they may choose between many of type of the OTT services.
Okay, that's interesting. Thank you, Christoph. Thomas, now I gather that one of the things you've been working on at the moment just happily happens to be with Inga's company, TET, and this is all about improving the consumer journey, which we all need to be able to find something we want, frankly, a darn sight quicker than we can find it at the moment, even with the recommendations in some places. So tell us a little bit about that solution, and then we can bring Inga in to say how that's working for her.
Yes, yeah, the user journey is something that 24i cares about very much, to the point where actually our product, our core product, is a little bit more than that, but it goes from the user journey all the way to the streams, the assets at the other end. So we are now an end-to-end provider of a solution. But in case of user journey, and specifically also on the installation of TED. The recommendation engine that we've deployed there is from ContentWise, and they are surfacing the content, which is becoming more and more of a channel, especially with the aggregation. And we all know it. You pick up the remote and you try and search for your show, and you don't find in your service, and then you need to change app unless there's some kind of cross-app, cross-channel integrated search functionality.
And it gets confusing, doesn't it? Because you find some shows, if it's a long-running US series 1 to 4 might be on one provider, and series 5 to 6 on another.
Yeah. We know the streaming apps are not necessarily like Spotify and Apple Music. Each of them contains their own catalog, right? So it makes it a little bit difficult, but that's actually one of the roles that the aggregators and the super aggregators that also provides their own content can add to this mix, right? They can provide that user journey a little bit more help to get on its way, even if it's just picking up the habit of you watching the news and pinning it in the front on the first menu that you activate. Or it's these are the football matches that are available to you for the rest of the evening because we recognize you're a sports fan. I mean, those kind of profiling is what we're aiming at and where we're heading. Because I mean, and that's one of the KPIs that 24i is trying to define this area.
And you don't get any customer resistance to that at all. I guess when they sign their contract with TET or whoever, they're ticking a set of conditions they haven't read, saying you'll use my information to bring me good things, to improve the content.
Well, that's a constant battle, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you trust your operator? I think there's probably less trust in Google these days, but I think there's trust in the national operator, right? That's at least what we're dealing with on many occasions. But the KPI I wanted to mention is actually something I haven't found elsewhere, so I want to bring it to the market here. Time to content.
Time to content.
The time spent from picking up the remote or picking up your mobile phone until you've watched 5 minutes of content. That must have been a successful suggestion in the end, right? And all we care about is seeing if we can find ways to minimize leading you into not more content, but more relevant content. And of course, here recommendations play a vital role also on the TED installation.
I like the idea of the time to content, though. I'm thinking now that the world is opening up and there's trade shows, we could gather people together and we could have a little competition just to see who could navigate through the services the fastest. I like this as the plan. Inga, maybe you could join us in this, but specifically now, how has the services provided by Thomas and his colleagues at 24i helped you?
Yes, we are very happy. So we cooperate with Thomas and 24i and content-wise on IPTV side, and actually we learned a lot. And yes, also adding to the intro, we are actually not only aggregating content, so we are actually also producing content. And now we have already more than 700 hours originally produced content. So on series, movies, kids content works really well, and now reality shows. So yes, all overall we have around 15,000 titles on video on demand. So content-wise here was really helping us to actually use it for like an anti-churn. So it really helps to engage customer, and we see that there really is a customers who are using our video on demand services and following recommendations, like personal recommendations, are actually staying more loyal, let's say, and engaged with our product. One thing I would like to add is that it's really amazing to have the best platform and recommendation algorithms, but without metadata quality, it's not going to work. So we actually invested a lot of time on developing metadata quality on our site. And yes, now the next step is to also extend our partnership and on recommendation side for TED Plus. Yes.
And when your channel partners discover that you've introduced these features, one assumes that they're pleased, but what sort of reaction are you getting specifically from them? Are they then wanting you to say, oh, maybe you could surface my content a bit better to bring that to the top using these features?
I wouldn't say that there's basically, of course, it's more like what we are following, trying to achieve. That it's more like individual recommendations for some
Okay.
It's based on the genre, and just right now we introduced actually mood recommendations. So, so let's see how it works. But of course, for all the new titles, we have so-called cold start, I guess. So we kind of push it to all our customers, and yes, so it works actually perfectly.
Okay.
And getting back to the loyalty, sorry.
Yeah,
just,
don't blame
I think
you there.
we have quite high number, like 80% of customers are actually saying okay for sending them personalized recommendations. And then of course, again, we work really carefully with the data. We also do recommendations for on mailing lists, but push notifications, also personalized, have been introduced. But I would say that of course, when you can access it on the screens, and it's what customers are basically expecting now.
Christoph, I think you've been working as well with data integration on some of your content partners. Does that's presumably something which is of great benefit overall to working out which direction you're going to take the service in?
I would say that in case of this specific case, we started to analyze the whole data which are related with the usage of our STB. Like what kind of the channel customer see, if they use our VOD, then also as well we look at this, and we use this, let's say, to also to build the personalization also in terms of the building the profile and the habits of the customers. The element which we see as the issue is the how deep we can go into the content which is provided by based on these services of the third parties. And and because we do not have, let's say, such own VOD service like the SVOD, because we have also our transactional VOD service, but in case of the SVOD service, we had a, let's say, issue with having the access to the all informations. Of course, there are possibility to think on the kind of a universal search, which, let's say, show what kind of the content you may find them. Much more, but at this moment, it's we are on this stage when we let's say we are thinking on this how to integrate. But on the other hand, the partners, in fact, trying to hold the holy grail in their hands in terms of the specific usage of the content. So, and on the layer on our services, we see like someone use the Netflix, for example, but we are not able to see what kind of the content inside this Netflix and how long. That's the, let's say, the weak element of being the aggregator of the third parties. On the other hand, because what Thomas presented and Inga now said also, I remember that we made the research with the customers in terms of the value which can be provided. And for them, at least in Poland, the biggest value would be if I can have in one commitment, be able to switch between several type of the OTT services.
Because, so to become a super aggregator, in other words.
Yes, yes, because of the cost of the services, and that's what we see as the quite interesting element.
That's interesting. So they would, the customers, if I'm understanding you correctly, the customers will expect, well, I'm subscribing to 3 of these OTT services, I'd like a discount, please.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And even I accept that in 1 month or in 1 week, I use that one. In the next week, I use that one. And that's the issue of the cost of the services.
So move it also, that's because obviously traditionally Central and East Europe has suffered, I hope you don't mind me using that word, from the low ARPU. And that's I guess is continuing to be an issue, but perhaps even more so if you have, if I say, American providers who are coming in and charging me the same fee as they're charging you for the same service. Yes, whereas traditionally you would pay less.
Yes, adding to this one element, I checked before this meeting, the average ARPU of the pay TV services is roughly 70 zloty, which means about 15 euro. And if you compare to any, let's say, commitment of the Netflix, which is 50 zloty, which means 11 euro. And if you would like to add to this HBO, additional 50 zloty, etc., etc., then you see the significant growth of the revenue. There will be customers which really like it, and with some discount, that's what we see the value of the discounting. But there will be also the group of the customers which think on this, okay, how may I switch between these services?
So do you think that switching between services is more likely than discounts or discounting for people who take multiple services?
It depends on the maturity of the market. Our market is not so mature at this moment, not so saturated by the OTT services at this moment. So, but in the future, with the Disney, with Viaplay, with HBO Max, with let's say growing role of the Amazon, that will happen. By the way, in case of the Amazon made quite a very good move in Polish market, because they start with the service with the yearly commitment for the Amazon Prime, which includes VOD. So that's in fact now very cheap offer on the market.
That's interesting. Ingo, are you seeing a similar scenario in Latvia with customers just hopping from one OTT service to another?
Okay, yeah, low ARPU. Well, put it in the context of a country with less than 1 million addressable households, so it's another whole challenge here. But yes, interesting actually. We also have the average ARPU is slowly growing, kind of for pay TV, but it's also around 50 euros.
Right.
I would say that if you look at OTT or streaming markets, and what we can see is that actually we are very proud with leading OTT segments. So it's kind of, you know, customers have one kind of a core subscription product, and then yes, they tend to subscribe and unsubscribe based on the content needs. But then again, like, let's see when more players will come to the market. We also actually signed a partnership with Viaplay, so it's also one of the one of the contracts we are looking into, how customers will accept a bundle deals, and also because of the sports actually, because fighting for premium sports rights in such a local market is getting harder and harder.
Do you think the dynamic is changing a bit? You know, you told us about TED Plus earlier on. I gather you have a number of broadband only subscribers who you serve. Does, you know, is that changing the subscriber mix overall of what a subscriber actually takes from you in the first place?
Yeah, it's a good point. Actually, yes, we used to have very high penetration of bundle deals with broadband and IPTV. I think in 2017, it was even reaching 95. So basically every one of our broadband subscribers would take IPTV. What we can see now is that, yes, there is a growing actually broadband only subscribers, but still we started to offer also bundles with TED broadband and TED Plus, and that's actually have been a success. So we saw that our bundle deals only with IPTV, but now we see that actually with subscribers, kind of consumers moving into OTT, let's say, space, because still in the end of the day, they are using some kind of a video content, right? And starting to offer bundle deals with TED Plus, actually, again, slowly kind of increasing the penetration of our bundle deals. And so now it's around 75%. And then it's basically shared between IPTV and TED Plus.
Yeah. Thomas, Scandinavia is often held up as the place for, you know, for broadband activity, and some of the numbers which I've seen provided by Media Vision in Stockholm show that the whole area is just seriously connected. I'm wondering if you can offer any insight on what might happen next, if you like, for our friends in Central and Eastern Europe.
So I think a couple of our customers in this region are trying to hedge their bet by both being a pure skinny TV bundler through app, but also providing a set-top box solution, a little bit like what the TED is doing as well, right? So they both have the IPTV and the OTT offering going for them, even on the open network. But interesting, I was spending some time with a customer only last week where they reported that they used to see among the new signups that 70% would be broadband only, and 30% would be broadband plus a TV set-top box, right? But in recent times, and I'm not going to mention any pandemic, they've seen that change. So now it's 55 without any set-top box and 45% that takes a set-top box initially while also taking broadband. And I think that's an interesting change. Maybe it's people realizing you are spending a little bit more time at home, but it's also the operator in question is also offering apps, an apps platform. So they are, again, playing the super aggregator role.
You think the operators are adjusting, which is not necessarily to the pandemic, but maybe trends which the pandemic exacerbated a little bit?
Well, certainly home entertainment has been on the rise for a while, but by adding all these different apps to their offering, seemingly, they're also solving partly the stacking problem. As Christoph mentioned, the problem of just adding the different subscription on top of each other doesn't really add up in the end. It becomes very costly, even though Amazon apparently is lowballing it, but they have other things to play on. But really, as a super aggregator, if you can introduce a shop where you can change the subscription from 1 month to the other, it appears like you're saving money. It appears cheaper. It might be the operator is paying for it. We don't know how that deal pans out. But it could also be that you're at least swapping out, you've seen the end screen on Netflix, right? You're swapping it out for HBO Max next month.
Yeah, no, interesting thought. Christoph, is triple play or even quad play, is that still a thing? Or people will maybe, I don't know, start to do a little bit more mix and match?
Honestly, definitely it's still in the game. And I think that we currently, I would say that Poland is a battlefield of the convergent offer. And even when I now listen to Thomas, the interesting point is about the STBs and something which is at home. Because when I look at, let's say, our approach, but also the others, initially, historically, we had our STB, our CP at home, and that's what we have, and we moving forward with this. Now we see that all of the operators have OTT boxes as the additional layer of the boxes, are open for the third-party services and different type of the services, not only the TV services. But going back, let's say, to the convergence, in fact, when I look at Orange strategy at this moment, that's the main driver to build the stickiness, the value of the customers. It's worth to compare that we have roughly 2.6 million households with the broadband and 1.4 million households with the convergent offer, which means broadband, which means fixed voice still, even it's IP voice, which means TV services, traditional IPTV or DTH, and also mobile voice, 1 or 2 or 3 mobile SIM cards, which means that, and around this, we build, let's say, the value for the customers of the discount. And the additional element is the value. It starts to build around the content and additional services, the value of the entertainment at home, like having the pay TV services, traditional, because it's not a trend when customers would like to switch just purely to the OTT. And on top of that, OTT services. Very often, as Julian mentioned previously, with the discount, like you pay, we give you some discounts for the loyalty, for being with us for the 1-2 years. And that's how we see this. as the trend on the market and the way how to build the value from the households.
And you still have a DTH satellite offer, I think, as well. Is that something? Do you concentrate on that though, or do you rather push your subscribers towards some of the broadband, the fiber packages, and the OTT television offers?
We rather push to the IPTV or services or the OTT services. Let's call it fiber-based services or the broadband-based services, because also it's a future for the 5G, especially on the rural areas. There are a few reasons. First reason, it's a much better quality for the customers. Second reason, it's the service which is more controlled by the operator, which means that we can control end-to-end every elements. So that's something which is really important. And first of all, we invest a lot and we plan still invest into FTTH in different models, but still we would like to have a no DTH, but for fiber. And that's something which is the value of the fiber for the customers, showing them that they can watch TV on many type of devices at the same time.
And presumably, as well as fiber, 5G has a role to play here too.
Let's say fiber, it's like the fiber fixed network plus 5G, like the very high broadband, fixed very high broadband fiber to the home, which means that we provide internet based on the fiber to the household directly. That's the difference. So like the 1 gigabits at home. So it's really very high broadband.
I guess, Inga, fiber goes very nicely with the TET Plus offer you were talking about at the start of this session. Presumably, are you looking to increase speeds on that up to giga levels? Maybe you're already there.
We just introduced actually 10G, yes. But if you look at 10 gigabits,
how many subscribers do you have? 5 or 6 for the 10G service?
Yeah, or the pricing. Because the point is,
good one, yes, of course, yes, it's the same like with 5G, you know. but still, actually, yes, if we look on the hard data, then 65% of fiber optic penetration actually by TET in Latvia. So we have a very good infrastructure, and that's why, of course, also I think the streaming market is kind of growing really rapidly in Latvia, because we invested in fiber optic already in 2009. So we are actually one of the countries with the fastest internet. So I know that it's very hard to get used if you go travel somewhere else where internet is not so fast, and it's like kind of it's.
I only need to go and see my sister. If I want bad internet, I just go 5 miles down the road to go and see my sister. You know, this is mixed infrastructure in so many places.
Exactly. So here it's actually quite good. But I wanted to add also to the point about set-top boxes. We introduced Android set-top box already back in 2015 on our first OTT solution. But actually, back then we said that we need to actually have a smart TV kind of first approach to eliminate investments in hardware. And what we see is that now majority of our actually customers for TET Plus are using our app on smart TVs. And only 3% are using actually set-top boxes. So maybe it's also one of the things which actually worked out for us, because in Latvia,
presumably to achieve that, you must have got pretty significant deployment with the various smart TV manufacturers.
Yes, it's not very fragmented. So yes, majority of smart TV penetration, actually it's quite high. So it's like around 50% smart TV penetration, and majority of market is held by Samsung, LG, and Android TV.
Yes, I guess if once you get those three, you're on the home run, aren't you, really?
Yes, but that has been actually also one of the strategies which worked for us, and we are very happy with that. So we also actually one of the biggest TV set retailers. So it goes very well, again, talking about the bundle deal. So that plus with the TV sets on smart TV side is something which we are also pushing for our customers.
Do you see a time when your R&D department might say, right, we're not going to really work on the set-top box anymore? No, these smart TV apps are doing it for us.
Yes, yes, yes. There are, of course, some challenges also in terms of sustaining all the apps, you know. So now we are on all smart TVs from 2017. So if it's an older smart TVs and we are not supporting them. So let's see. But for now, yes, for now, actually, set-top box less strategy has been also saving us a lot of capex investments.
That's an interesting one. I wonder if we could maybe take a, I don't know, like a forward view now, really. Thomas, 5G, is that presumably is coming into the mix as more mobile companies look to adding in entertainment services as well?
Well, right now this video link is on 5G. I live on a boat, so I don't have any fiber.
It looks a very nice boat, can I say, with cactus plants and
yeah, I know. So 5G is very widespread in the sort of major city areas in Scandinavia at the moment, and we get pretty good connection. What we're seeing is people walk around with a subscription in their back pockets. It's been like that for a while, but now it's actually castable quality, right? So they will cast to their Chromecast or to the TV sets where Apple TV is embedded, or to the app, the companion app that you find on the smart TV. One note there is 24i is actually, I think, 1/3 of the companies all embedded into developing on smart TV. So we're very much on par with Inga's comments on that. I do believe that's the right strategy as well. But let's see. I mean, there's so many new TVs coming out. Comcast got one. Sky Glass, I think.
Yeah, Sky Glass. I went to the press briefing for that a couple of weeks ago now, and again, it's a different. I think it's had mixed reviews so far, but it's certainly a different take. And I kind of almost. It's not so much a walled garden; it's more of a walled window box. How they've managed to sort of narrow down what little distance you can travel outside of the sky environment.
And of course, for a vendor like us, it again just shows that the added complexity you need to take care of. And I know that TED is actually doing this part themselves, right? There are multiple different vendors. There's new versions coming out. I saw the test center we have in Czech Republic recently being updated, and there's a ton of TV sets out there. Hisense, now TV Glass, and Comcast coming in with their own frameworks, their own operating systems. It's a bit of a challenge, but
yes,
of course, that's
I guess, absolutely. Christoph, as a mobile operator in Orange, 5G on the horizon for you?
I would say that we have a difficult situation in terms that we deployed the 5G, but it's not let's call the full 5G.
Right.
And we are still waiting for the frequencies. That's why, let's say, and on the other hand, we are now more the convergent operators. So we rather trying to push customers to use FTTH, like the fiber optic connectivity plus mobile.
It sounds like it's going to take a little while before you get the clarity, which I'm seeing from Thomas's 5G connection, which frankly looks better than the one I'm seeing of myself. You know, it's very, very good. So we better wrap up. Sorry to cut you a little bit short there, Christoph. I just glanced at the clock and realised we're kind of out of time. So Christoph, also Inga and Thomas, thank you so much for joining us for this panel. This lunchtime. Have a good rest of day. I'm off for spot of lunch myself. I'll be back a little later on.
Thank you, Julian.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.